Well, if you have to, you have no choice. Like, you should have strong reading skills, strong reading comprehension, inferencing. Don't really understand what the writing section is. Essentially, yeah, intermediate level is enough. But preferably, you should have IELTS. I'm going to get 8.5. That's my aim. You should be precise about your goals. They have no idea about the future, most of the students. But personally, for me, I think that like preparing for the IELTS exam is preferable. Why? Because I did the same. First, I took my IELTS exam and then prepared for the SAT. But like I wouldn't recommend this for all students because everyone has like his or her preferences, his or her like own schedule. And therefore, I think that like every student should kind of choose what to do himself or herself. Well, here I can kind of short to talk about the differences in the effectiveness of both methods. Well, first of all, if you are choosing to prepare for these tests at the same time, if you're kind of trying to do them simultaneously, well, preparing for the SAT, especially the reading section, might really help you with the IELTS reading section because SAT reading passages are more difficult, like way more difficult, and like being used to being prepared to SAT reading passages can really help you increase your band score from the reading portion of the IELTS exam, because like IELTS reading is comparatively easier. Like in this way, preparing for the SAT might help you increase your IELTS score, and in this way, like preparing for these tests at the same time might be helpful. But looking from the other perspective, I think first focusing on the IELTS is good because I mean for most of the students, focusing on two things is difficult. That's called multitasking, and it's not recommended by many scientists and by many psychologists. Like multitasking, you need to be focused on one thing, and therefore for me, preparing for the IELTS first is more preferable. Of course IELTS. Why? Because when you're starting to prepare for the SAT, like you have some bases. Like most of the students start preparing for the SAT when they reach the intermediate level. That's recommended. Like if you are at the intermediate level, you can take a tutoring and start preparing for the SAT because that level is essentially enough for a start. But for the IELTS exam, like I mean, if we combine the preparation process for the IELTS and general English, that's of course longer than the preparation process for the SAT. Like even you kind of like subtract that general English part, if you're only focusing on the IELTS, it takes about 4 or 5 months. So 4 months is minimum for advanced score 7. Like, but that's kind of established by most of the learning centers, but you can do it faster, you can do it slower, depending on your schedule, depending on your determination, dedication. But for the SAT, like at most it takes 4 months. At most it takes 4 months to reach 1300 plus. But in this period you can make it 400 plus, 1400 plus, 1500 plus. It again depends on how much like time you allocate for preparing process, for the preparation process. Okay. So like for the IELTS, I would say that that's at least 4 months, the IELTS itself. If you're aiming for 7.5 or higher, let's say 8 or 8.5. But for the SAT exam, it's at most 4 months. Sometimes even 1 month can be enough for a good SAT score. Well, again, it depends. Like some students can make it in 1 month, some students cannot even make it in 4 months. So it depends. Like that depends on what score you consider to be good. Well, for some students, like even 1200 is enough, but for some students, like even 1300 is not, right? Like in 1 month, like with hard work, you can reach that 1200, but I think it's pretty impossible to score 1300 plus in 1 month. And by most of the colleges in the United States, 1200 is considered to be good. So for some students, 1 month can be enough. Well, with some of my friends and students, we launched a new online project, which is actually aiming for helping every single student in Uzbekistan, because most of the students in Uzbekistan don't have access to traditional flying classes, especially the ones in the regions, because in the regions we don't have like let's say good tutors, good learning centers. Like for IELTS we have, but for the SAT, like many students have a problem with this, like have a problem with tutoring. They don't have good teachers in their regions. Like many good teachers work in Tashkent, but in regions they don't have this chance. And therefore with this aim we launched this online project. First of all, our aim is to educate like all students as much as we can. Like we don't kind of only offer SAT. We have many other courses. We have Turkish language, we have Korean language, we have English, we have IELTS, and new like subjects are on the way. And our main aim is to prove why online education is better than offline education. Because in Uzbekistan, as you know, online education is kind of underestimated. Like many students talked about online education, many students don't like taking online education. I mean, online education has a very bad reputation in Uzbekistan. And our main goal is to prove why online education is better, and why in the future everyone will be studying online, because like for many reasons online education is better, I think. And currently I'm not teaching offline. I don't have any traditional classes, I only teach online. And with some of my friends and students, we decided to kind of launch this project for these goals. So SAT reading test is 1 hour and 5 minutes long, so you'll be given 65 minutes, and within that time you should solve, let's say, 52 questions, and there are 5 passages. So in each passage there are 10 or 11 questions. Essentially we have 4 passage types: the fiction passages, history, science, and social science. Or by saying science, I mean natural science, like biology, chemistry, physics. Essentially we have 4 passages, 4 passage types for 5 passages. And like if you break down the time you are given for the reading section, it's about 13 minutes per passage. So you should allow only 13 minutes per passage for 10 or 11 questions, which is comparatively small compared to the IELTS, because in IELTS you have 60 minutes for 40 questions. Which means you have like 90 seconds, right, per question, but for the SAT you don't have that much time. So like with this respect, SAT reading is kind of more difficult. First of all, because of the time management, and secondly, the levels of passages are comparatively higher. The words being used in the SAT reading are more difficult compared to the ones in the IELTS. Well, if you have to, you have no choice. Let's say you're running out of time, like you don't have kind of necessary time management skills, and in that case guessing would be the best decision that you can make during the test, because like there are no kind of negative points for incorrect answers. I mean, your points will not be deducted from the score, from your final score, even if you get them wrong, get some questions wrong. And therefore guessing is pretty okay if you are running out of time, because you don't have any choice. Like, instead of just leaving those let's say answer spaces blank, just kind of choosing some answer options is better. Like most of the time when fluency is mentioned, like that's mostly about the speaking level, I think, because fluency is kind of somehow linked to the speaking part compared to other parts. And considering that in the SAT we don't have the speaking part, we only have reading, writing, language, and math, fluency it is not necessary. Like, you should have strong reading skills, strong reading comprehension, inferencing, finding vocabulary. Like, these skills are enough for the reading section. For the writing section, like, you can do with your basic grammar knowledge, grammatical knowledge, knowledge in grammar. But for math, like, math is a different thing. Like, for math you kind of prepare it separately. Like, it's not that related to English. You just have to understand what the question is saying, and that's it. So fluency is not necessary for the SAT. Well, it took about more than 1 year to get my first IELTS certificate in August 2020. In my first attempt I got 7.5, and by that time kind of I had a preparation period of 16 months, like 1 year and 4 extra months. And the reason why I prepared so much was the quarantine period, because of the quarantine, because of the coronavirus outbreak, like most of the most of the IELTS dates were cancelled, they were postponed, and kind of I had to take the IELTS exam in August, but essentially I was planning to take that IELTS exam in June, in the beginning of summer. And for the second attempt last year, it only took about 3 weeks. I focused on the IELTS exam 3 weeks to get my score increased by half point. Sorry. Yes, like I myself teach. I'm an instructor, and I have many students. I had many students with great scores, and some of them only prepared for 1 month, some of them prepared for 2 months, some of them took a full preparation period, which is 4 months. But most of them were at the intermediate level when they started. Well, there were kind of some students who with IELTS 7, IELTS 8, like for whom the preparation process wasn't that difficult because of the English level, of course. But essentially, intermediate level is enough for a start. Well, you might it might be difficult because at the intermediate level you're not that perfect, especially in the reading section. Well, because SAT reading is pretty difficult, and same goes for writing at the start. But writing and language part gets easier, like as you spend more time for the preparation. But essentially, yeah, intermediate level is enough. But preferably, you should have IELTS. The most preparation, I think, the portion which takes, let's say, more time to master is the writing section, because most of the students fail in this section, because writing portion is kind of the least understood part. Like, especially in Uzbekistan, like many students don't really understand what the writing section is, and therefore they fail to get 7. most of the students get 6 or 6.5. I mean, the best students even get 6 or 6.5 from the writing section. And I think writing section is the most difficult part to master. Even speaking is kind of easier if you have enough friends, if you have enough networking. If you have enough fundings, if you have enough money, if you have enough time, taking the test twice might be a good decision. Like taking every single test is like twice is a good decision, even for the SAT. Well, like, but I think if we approach to this question from financial perspective, just kind of cracking the IELTS exam in the first attempt is good. Just like, let's say, to take 7 or 7.5 and forget about the IELTS test for the rest of your life. If you are not going to teach IELTS, but for tutoring purposes, you might take the IELTS exam like as many times as you want. Like I took the test twice, but for the future I have again some plans regarding the IELTS exam, because in 2 years the certificate expires, as you know. My scores get denied and I will have to take the test again. And in my third attempt, hopefully I'm going to take, I'm going to get 8.5. That's my aim for the third attempt. Not getting stuck in speaking. Well, everything comes with practice. Like, I think for the speaking portion, practice is the most important thing. And again, you should have multiple people to speak to if you are actually trying to develop your speaking skills. So in order to avoid getting stuck in the speaking exam, you should be comfortable speaking English. You should be able to think in English. You should be able to generate ideas fast. Because why actually students get stuck in the speaking portion? Because they like ideas, they like necessary ideas, they like experience, because they haven't practiced that much. And I think practicing, let's say we're reading some articles might also help, especially for the part 3, because in part 3 we normally have more general questions, and for this part we need more ideas. And therefore, reading articles, speaking to all the people most of the time, not our peers, but all the people might help you, because all the people have more life experience, they know more, they've experienced more, yes, and they can share the experience with you, and therefore by this way it would be easier for you. I think you can get something from every teacher. I mean, you shouldn't stick to one person, one teacher. You should kind of try diversity. You should try diversifying the teachers, the mentors. Even you can use your friends as your teachers, because we learn from everybody. We learn from our parents, we learn from our friends, we learn from our teachers, many other people that surround us. And in addition to teachers, you can use your friends with higher English level for your preparation. And if we talk only about teachers, I think you should have at least 2 teachers, one main teacher and second support teacher, which is who are actually present in most of the learning centers, because main teachers can, let's say, help you with 3 portions of the IELTS exam, let's say reading, listening, writing. But for the speaking, you should have another teacher, because main teachers, when they teach these 3 portions, they don't normally have enough time to spare for like developing your speaking skills, and therefore I think you should have another teacher for the speaking portion or any other portion. Like both ways are preferable. Like I mean, these activities don't really affect your speaking that much. I mean, you can use them for some part. Like you can use them to get your, let's say, vocabulary, to get your vocabulary improved. I mean, lexical resource, and like you can use them for, let's say, learning how to be native, because when we watch movies we normally have native speakers in our movies, in American, in British films, and these kind of methods might help, especially watching movies. I think it's more preferable compared to reading books, because reading books can help you with generating ideas, like I said previously, and with your vocabulary only. But with speaking, like reading, like is not that thing which is related to speaking. Like for to develop speaking, you should speak, but like for additional preparation, you can use movies and reading. Like I mean, these methods shouldn't be the main methods you're using to develop your speaking skills. Okay, so like to develop your speaking, you should speak. That's simple. Well, personally, I haven't watched that many movies. Like, I don't like watching movies, like, in general. That's my nature. But I can recommend some. Well, Harry Potter, first of all, because that's kind of a British movie, and like you can kind of, let's say, get your British accent improved, right? Like next films, I think would be what was the name, like detective movie, Sherlock Holmes, and you can try Avengers, maybe. Yes, because like it's an American film, they use American accent, they native speakers, and that film might help, because like I watched a few movies, and but like the largest portion of the movies that I've watched consist of the movies from Marvel. Like I watched like more than 20 movies from Marvel, and I think those movies might help. Well, Sherlock Holmes, I personally haven't watched, but like I'm recommending this because like depending on the recommendations I got from teachers, from friends. But Harry Potter and Avengers I've watched. These are my personal recommendations. That's kind of an imaginary fantastic situation, but because like buying our certificate is not possible, so I think Band-Aid might cost about $1,000 plus. I think that's precious. It's priceless. SAT. Why? Because it takes less time to prepare for the SAT. SAT questions are more enjoyable. SAT has the math section. Like for me, SAT is better because I'm good at math, and therefore I'm going with SAT. Like, and SAT, yeah, like it's true that with IELTS you can do more. You can get accepted to many universities. You can get a chance to study in many parts of the world. SAT gives you that very chance to study in Canada, study in the United States, and with SAT you can get scholarships. But for IELTS, American universities, let's say, don't give you any percentage of scholarship. Like in terms of getting scholarships, SAT is better. But generally, SAT is good, I think. class for writing section, and Fridays I focus on the maths. Well, first of all, no matter like what you're preparing, no matter like what you're doing, what you're studying, first focus on developing your time management skills, because time management is the #1 thing that I think every student should have, because without time management, you can fail everything. Because like I've achieved many things in my life. Like I got my SAT, I got my IELTS, I'm a winner of many Olympiads from biology. Essentially, I am majoring in medicine, and like to achieve all of this, my time management skills really helped. So first of all, if you are like, let's say, preparing for the IELTS, preparing for the SAT, or preparing for any test, for DTM exams, doesn't matter. First, focus on, let's say, improving your time management skills. That's the most important thing. Well, secondly, like in addition to time management, you should be precise about your goals. You should know exactly what you're going to do in the future. Well, of course, we don't know exactly, but you should have some goals at least. I mean, like before starting the preparation process for any test, for any exam, you should have a goal. You should have a target, so that you don't lose motivation in the middle of the way, in the middle of the preparation. And like I see many students who are going to take IELTS, they don't have their exact goals. They don't know their precise future. Let's say they are aiming for IELTS 7, they're aiming for, let's say, SAT 300 and 1300 plus, but they don't know what to do next. So that's the problem. Like when they achieve their goals, like short-term goals, I mean, they got stuck. They don't know what to do next. So like just before even starting to prepare for IELTS, you should know what you are going to use that IELTS for when you achieve this result that you're aiming for. And the same goes for the students who are preparing for DTM exams. Because the problem with our education is many students focus on the results, not on the process and not on their future. Like they get the results and they don't know what to do. Like they get accepted to, let's say, state universities in Uzbekistan, and then they stop studying. So that's the problem, because they don't know what to do. They don't. They have no idea about the future, most of the students. And therefore I think many students get unemployed when they finish universities, when they get their results, and end up, let's say, not achieving their goals. So first of all, time management, and secondly, being precise about your goals in the future. You can get more information about these courses if you contact us at Excellence Academy, Edu. Like these are our addresses in Telegram and Instagram. We have channels. Like we've started working on September 10th. Like it's been only about half a month, only about 15 days. And if you want to get more information about our courses and about our academy, don't hesitate to reach me out. And you can find my own, let's say, contacts in the description below.